Oh, sister.
Oh, sister. Oh, sister.
Yeah, I
Mother,
know.
Mother Mary, help us all.
A lot of people are crunchy right now and chewing on gravel. Why is like judgment of self so huge right now?
Oh, we get to purge it. Oh, I am too. I'm so, yeah. It's like we are in the thick of a massive upgrade with our consciousness collectively. That's what I'm getting. That's what I'm seeing.
Hmm.
Some people don't want to face themselves. And when that happens, it gets even more crunchy the more we resist. The big theme words are letting go, surrendering. It is what it is. Let God do the work. Like things, our egos want it to go faster than it is. And it's really testing our patience. Is that what you're seeing?
Um, I'm seeing that there's a lot of dark and shadow that people are experiencing.
Yeah. Yeah. Crossroads. Big, 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 big crossroads right now of how we're going to choose and choose differently based on our values. And I feel like people are in the midst of dropping old values that are no longer in alignment with
Mhm.
their soul mission. And it's a process of letting go. And then being in the midst of concurrently while those are being dropped, like, okay, well, what is important to me now? Like redefining those values. Whew.
Well, and what if you don't know what your values are?
Yeah, that's why it can feel scary.
Or you haven't been aligned and functioning from or existing from those values, because if you were, it might disrupt your whole world.
Hmm.
Like I'm lucky. I don't have a partner. I don't live with a family. My son is around, but he and I have a really easy relationship. So we just have a infinite amount of allowance for each other, and it's not hard. It's just sort of, sometimes you have to like juggle and reschedule and things like that. But he and I, it's easy. Like when he comes into my house, I don't have to adjust myself and who I am to match his I don't have to cut off my arms and legs to be in his world, in his, to and I also, one of my values that's been coming up this year is I'm not going to cut off my arms and legs for anybody. And if somebody's upset or if they choose an emotion based on something that I'm being or that I've done, if it's not directed toward them and if it's not meant to be hurtful or to be at all like this energetic exchange, even with them, what I'm doing and what I'm choosing, the way it's affecting you, it's not mine. So, for instance, I was supposed to go to this thing the other night, and the gal that I was supposed to go with, her sister might be there. Well, she didn't want her sister to know that she and I are friends and have been hanging out because it might create like this judgment and this upsetness in her sister. And I'm like, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not shrinking myself and cutting off pieces and parts of myself so that someone else can feel good. I'm not going to adjust myself so that when I walk into a room, it makes other people feel comfortable. Yeah.
That's not honoring of self. And when it's, yeah, good. That's inspiring. Keep doing that.
Well, I think that's what a lot of people do based on comparison and judgment in this reality. Like, who cares what other people think of you?
I feel like our, if we want to call it the reptilian brain, or it's wired for tribal survival. It's like, oh, if I'm ousted, if I'm not liked, if I'm judged, if I'm persecuted, it's like that fear of getting kicked out of the tribe, and that means death. The ego doesn't want to die. It's like it's sort of our fight or flight wiring that
Mm,
we in modern day times get to choose differently because that's not true anymore. But those old DNA patterns are coming up to like the epigenetic piece of it. Like we get to change it. That cycle is done. And it's showing us the last pieces of what needs to fall away through those examples of relationship. And it's in the shadows, and we get to shine our light on it so that it's not in the shadows, and then we can transmute it and transform it and choose greater for ourselves and shine brighter no matter what. Yeah, what was coming up for me yesterday similarly was clearing the old witch wound. I know that might trigger some people. Just even the word witch. I know my mom doesn't like that word. Don't say that. You were not a witch. And I'm like, yes, I was a witch. I'm still a witch. I'm the good witch. I can be a bad witch. Don't push me. Because that's fun too. But
mm-hmm.
that fear of like, especially moving through this eclipse portal for the rest of the month, this March, which is setting off the next 6 months of the year too, of really clearing those deep patternings of fear-based decision making based on the other. It's like really processing it out to know our worth, stand in our self-value, and that's the word, claim our sovereignty. It's more, we're becoming more sovereign with Pluto in Aquarius. It's really transforming how we're being in groups of people. We're in it. We were born for these times. It's intense. It's crunchy. We've never been through these astrological aspects like all at once, cycles upon cycles upon cycles upon cycles, like all converging and ending at once. So we get to step into the new, and the new isn't created yet. We're creating it. We're actualizing it. Ooh, let's talk about that. Manifesting versus actualization. We were chatting
Well,
about that yesterday. This is good. This is good.
yeah. So, wow, manifestation is like such old energy. So anyway, I want to just touch on one thing first. I really, 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 so being a reflector and reflecting like the collective consciousness, what I'm getting is people are so afraid to be their authentic selves, but that's what this time is calling for. Like when you go out in public, when you're at home, who are you now? Like align with your authentic self. And then segueing into that, I am also getting the downloads of the only way to do that, the only way to actualize something. We'll talk about the difference of manifestation and actualization, but the only way to actualize what you truly desire is to know yourself, know thyself. I think that's even in the Bible, isn't it? Know thyself.
Probably.
So know yourself so well, so authentically, so aligned so scarily that the actualization of what you truly desire actualizes. So manifestation is that you want something. Manifestation and being in a manifestation energy is I lack it, I lack it, I lack it, I lack it, I want it, I want it. How do I manifest it? How do I manifest it? Manifest, manifest, manifest. What you actually want to do is you want to actualize it. Actualization means that it actually shows up for you. And the only way really for it to show up for you is to have this sense of ease with it, that you deserve it, that it is yours. But that's because you're being authentically you. Like,
Yeah,
then
there's
you
an
align.
ease around it. I love that. There's an ease, there's a nervous system,
Yes.
certain level of frequency and vibration that you're aligning to that which you desire, not out of a need or want of filling a void. Like, ooh, when I get this, then I'll feel better, or then that will fix that, or then that will open up for me. It's like, no, it's already in the realm of possibility. And we step into that timeline by dropping the resistance of being our authentic self. And then it flows, being in that flow state. That's what we're practicing. That's the
Right.
next up level.
Yeah. Being in that flow state.
Mm-hmm.
And you cannot be in the flow state by comparison or wanting something that someone else has. Because most of the time, when you're in that wanting or desire of what you see outwardly, it's a reflection of you. So you have to really truly align with what is that in me that I see in that other person, or that I see that that other person has that I actually want. Because you see somebody maybe with money or a shiny bag or a new car or whatever it is, and you're like, or travel, or and you're like, oh, I want that. But it's not I want that. When you actualize something, you go, I'll have that, universe. And then you let it go. You don't like sit there and say affirmations around it and think about it every day all the time. That's not how it comes to you.
Yeah, that's more of a like desperation energy. Mm, I'll have that. I'll have that, universe. Thank you.
That I'll have that. I'll have that. I'll
I'll
have that.
have that. I'll
Woo!
have that. Yeah, that's so light. That's such a light, fun, playful, creative energy.
But then you go along your day and you do the things that you need to do. Like, you have to honor where you're at right now. And if you want something like that to change, then you have to make changes to create something different as your life. If you don't like what you have right now, take inspired action and make different choices to choose how you want to live, who you want to be. And most of the time, it's not really about the numbers in the bank account and all of those things that you think it is. It's more about your being your true authentic self. That's really what I think everybody wants. They want to get out of fear.
Oh, I want to riff on something.
Yeah, do it.
So, this word, I've been contemplating it and sitting with it, inspiration. Like, because you just said take inspired action. It's like, okay, let's break this down. Like, let's talk about the difference between taking inspired action or pushing through something with motivation. Because
Oh,
I did a post the other day, and the feedback that I got, and it was an interesting post because I was inspired to share it. It didn't feel like it was coming from a place of force or want or need or looking for something. It was just like spirit called me to say these certain things and share it out. And the feedback that I got was, ooh, I'm so inspired by you. And other people were saying, like, you seem inspired, like, ooh, and the like that word kept coming up. And so I've been sitting with it. It's like, oh, that's such a juicy place to be, like
yes.
inspired. Like it's coming from within, like our juice, our juju, our life force. our sexual energy, not in the place of sex, but that creative force that bubbles up out through us that came here to be expressed, and we're embodied, and we get this opportunity
Yeah.
to be our unique selves. And that's what people see as inspiring.
Yes.
And there's no, like, maybe sometimes people will bump up against fear. Like there's a certain piece of the post that I was sharing that was really vulnerable and exposing for me. And I was sweating as I was writing it. But it's like, I feel like even that piece of the post, had I left it out, it almost would have taken away from the authenticity of the entire share, because like, oh, if she's willing to go there with this, that it almost like led to like the magnificence of it all, to like tying it all together. And I was like, wow. So inspiration versus motivation. What do you get on that, sister?
Well, when you're inspired in that way, like truly inspired and truly functioning from that's flow. And then also, that's your authentic self. You were expressing your authenticity, and people desire that so much. Like you were saying, I'm willing to be so raw, so vulnerable, so real, all my barriers down, all my walls down. I'm not going to hide anymore. But everybody is yearning for that. And it's okay to mess it up, to have it not show up right. It's okay for it to be not perfect. It's okay for it to be messy. Like inspiration is not, oh, I have to have all these things in a line and everything has to be set up perfectly and it has to be beautiful and it has to be, that will come as you practice. I was listening to oh, I can't remember his name, Alex. Oh, he created the school, Skool. Anyway, Alex Horick. I have to find it. Sorry, Alex. But he talked about in this podcast with it was the CEO podcast. He was talking about how he's very successful in his podcast now, but he started like 10 years ago, and for the first 7 years, it was just shit. But he showed up every day. He was inspired to take that inspired action. And so by doing that every day, he perfected it and he perfected it and he perfected it. And then one day, 7 freaking years later, it finally lands. And I am guilty of this. I do things sometimes, and then I'm like 2 days later, if it doesn't create the momentum that I wanted it to, I drop it and I'm like, okay, whatever, that's not working. But we have to wait and practice being that authentic version, and recalibrating and saying, oh, I tried that because I was inspired for that, but it didn't work. And then you go and you try something else, or you shift it just a little bit so that it does align with you.
I love that. Yeah, that's pulling in this Saturn conjuncting these eclipse portals right now. It's like having that discipline in real world time to keep at it without judgment.
Yes, like get out of the judgment and the points of view. And I know that's really hard. If anything were to be your daily practice every day, I would start there, not affirming, not sitting and going, I am a millionaires. I have all the money I need. I like, how many people is that actually working for? I don't get that that's the energy of the being what you want to be, the being what you are desiring to have. When you be it, then it actualizes. But you just, when you want to actualize, you just sit back and you go, oh, it's coming. You don't look at it every day and be like, is it here yet? I don't see it. It hasn't shown up.
And sometimes it shows up differently than what we have imagined it to, and being open to receive those possibilities. I used to
Totally.
play with the statement, I am the possibility of surprise and delight. Oh, like how fun is that? Like, I mean, granted, surprises can come in all forms, which is why I added delight. Like, I want to be delighted by the surprises. So then my mind is tuned to look for things that delight me. Delight.
So how then do you create that willingness to be surprised? And because I love shadow stuff and dark stuff, I'm willing to be surprised by the dark stuff too. Like sometimes I've got, for me in my life, some of that dark stuff has to show up so that there can be the light stuff that comes in. Like sometimes, like if you, let's say you're on the way somewhere and you get a flat tire, and getting a flat tire is probably not so delightful. But the universe is like, you have to have the flat tire to get to the destination. And when you get to the destination, you're supposed to get there at that time, not the time that you would have gotten there if you didn't have the flat tire. So it's like we judge too the delight parts of it.
Yeah. Takes a lot of trust.
Yeah. Well, it takes a lot of letting go.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And didn't you say like right now is the time to let go?
And surrender.
Yeah, it takes a lot of surrendering, and people don't like that feeling because that's a feeling of out of control.
Oh boy, baby, don't we like to control things as human beings?
So
Human
here's something
beings.
interesting. From what I've learned about manifestation, in that energy, sometimes it's like this energetic thread of we have control of what the outcome is, or that the manifestation shows up. Like by saying all the affirmations, and like the manifestation piece to me is a little bit chunky because it's like our ego somehow gets involved and we think we're controlling it then.
Ooh, I'm
So
guilty of that using
yeah, same.
play like, oh, if I switch 27 things around the house, then the money's going to show up. It's like, what can I do to fix this from my
Right,
toolbox?
right. But
But
that's from
it's
that
that feels
motivating.
yeah, disempowered. That feels disempowered when I even talk about it.
Yeah, yeah. So the inspired action then is like choosing to create, like you said the other day about that post that you made, where you don't really have a see manifestation. I feel a lot of times is like, oh, I'm going to create this post because that's going to manifest the things. But you were inspired just to create a post and share, but without an expectation. That's actualization.
Yeah, I was detached.
Yes, detachment.
I was detached from the outcome. If people were going to judge me, if they were going to like it or not like it, or what they were going to think about me, like I was really coming from a place of detachment. I'm like, they're going to do that anyway, no matter how I show up. So it might as well be me.
Yeah,
That's way more fun and freeing.
yeah.
And it
So
takes the pressure off too.
yeah, there's a lot of pressure in manifestation.
Yeah. Ugh, heavy.
So I'll have that. Oh, universe, I'll have that. That aligns. Okay, now I'll go about my day. It's like if you want to win the lottery, like sometimes I've felt this for myself, like, oh, it'd be fun to win the lottery, right? But then you want to know when to buy the lottery ticket or when to be inspired to buy it or whatever. But if it's just universe, I'll have that. It's easier than when you get to the gas station, you go, oh my God, should I buy a lottery ticket today? Like, is today the day? do I need to buy one today? Well, that energy doesn't actualize it.
Yeah. And what if the lottery is supposed to come in a different way?
Right. Right.
Not through an actual lottery,
Right.
a similar energy to that.
Right. So then acknowledge, like, just be in that energy of, I am abundant already. I have a fuck ton of wealth.
I am love already.
So I heard something interesting. When we say I am, and I'm still playing with this, so bear with
Mhm.
me. And you can project being the projector that you be.
Mhm.
What do you get from this? So I saw a post the other day. I don't remember who it was from, but I saw something that said when you say the I am statements, it's more of a root chakra energy.
Mhm. Mhm.
When you say I know, it's crown chakra.
Mm. Crown, third eye. Okay.
And more of like I be is heart. So it's like bring that energy up, not down here in the I have to do, which is more root, but acknowledging that you already know love. And then you just be it instead of affirming it.
Mm.
Like
It's
I know I am a loving, amazing, bright, shining light being.
okay. I see where you're going with this. Yeah. Like the knowing piece of it is infusing it into our cellular expression. Like, I know I am that. It's like that's the embodiment piece instead of intellectualizing it.
Instead of saying, I am blah, I am blah. Well, if you don't believe that and you don't know it and you don't energetically embody it and you're not making that choice to be that outward expression of that, you can say, I am whatever the hell it is you are. I am this, I am that, I am this.
Yeah.
If you
Almost
say,
lands flat.
I know I am love. I know I am love.
Yeah, there's a conviction to that. Like you're aligning with it.
And even greater might be, I know love. Not I am love. I know love, and love knows me.
Mhm. Yeah, in your experience of yourself. Ooh, yummy.
And also, I want to share just a little bit here. I know we're getting close to time, but I see people all the time. I see clients and I see friends and family who try to cut off their darkness. And there's such a yummy juiciness in the darkness. Like people are afraid to have that voltage of anger or like their potency.
Mhm.
And I'm not talking about anger from judgment, but if you're a bad boy or a bad girl inside of you somewhere, like you have some of that dark juicy energy, use it to fuel you. Don't try to cut off that piece of yourself.
Yeah, the feminine is dark. It's where creation takes place. It's messy.
Yeah.
And there's a level of like stunning beauty in that. Like
And
when, like just thinking about like witnessing somebody having like a beautiful release of a cry as opposed to holding it in and stuffing it and
yeah,
cutting themselves off. It's like, Oh, that's inspiring. Okay, that just gave me permission to be more of me and to go there and to be raw and vulnerable and authentic and share in those experiences together.
Well, a cry, a rebel yell, a scream, a like a just a big, you know. And you were talking about the witch stuff, and what did you call it, Amanda?
The witch wound.
Yeah. How dark is that? And that's why that got that got shut off. You know, you were talking about your mom saying, don't use that. That's not, I don't want to hear that. I don't want that to be part
Yeah.
of
Like
mine.
don't affiliate our lineage with that.
Right.
Like that's bad.
But that is
What? Is it
part
bad?
of you. Why is that bad? How is that bad? Because it's dark? Talk about dark energy.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
Owning our power. People are coming back around to understanding and integrating that level of power that we inherently hold. That's another next big step through this eclipse portal.
Yeah,
Ooh.
that's what I'm saying. People cut off, and part of that power is and includes your darkness. And I'm not saying we should all go out and be like, you know, using weapons against each other and using the darkness to destroy. I'm saying, no, use your darkness to fuel you to create. That's an authentic part of me, is my darkness.
Yeah, it's like the more we can know and integrate that, the brighter we can shine. It's like living on that full spectrum of who we be. All of it.
Yes.
All of it.
Yeah. So,
7:33.
yeah. So it's like if you're choosing something that you need to shift or change, staying in the wrongness of you having chosen that, it doesn't really change it. Like judging yourself for those things does not change it.
No, it sticks the energy. It makes it heavy and stuck, lodges it in like a wall we can't get past.
Yeah.
So
So what do you have coming up? Do you have something coming up with the witch wound?
I'll share it out on my socials. Yeah, I created a witch wound release ritual
Mm.
to move people through if they want to through this eclipse portal coming up. And you don't have to do it right on the full moon lunar eclipse, but it's a powerful time too. Yeah,
Awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
me
Sweet.
too. Thank you,
Yay.
sister.
Thank you. I'll put where people can find us in the comments or whatever. But yeah, good chat. I love talking with you. Thank you.
I love talking with you too. To be continued. Mwah.